What's up? I'm travel photographer Brendan Vanson of BrendansAdventures.com, and today I get to do aerial photography at night over the Las Vegas Strip with Maverick Helicopters. So I'm here in Las Vegas and I've got an awesome opportunity to go on a helicopter ride with Maverick Helicopters over the Vegas Strip. Now, from a photography standpoint, this is going to be a massive challenge because 1, it's at night, 2, it's in a moving helicopter, and 3, I've never done anything like this before, so I thought I would take this learning opportunity and also share with you. So when undertaking any photography shoot of any sort, especially a new one that you haven't done before, first thing we're going to think about is gear. What gear am I going to be bringing? So I think that it makes most sense actually to shoot 2 bodies. So I have my Canon 6D, which is filming the video right now, and I'm going to shoot that, and I'm going to put the 16 to 35 millimeter wide angle because I have a couple clients. Well, I have one client in specific that's looking for really wide, tall aerial images of big cities like Vegas. So that's the specific shot I want, and so I'm going to put it on the full frame to make sure I get the highest resolution image possible. I'm also going to take my 50 millimeter, I believe, either my 50 millimeter or the 70 to 200, and put it on the 60D. Now, the reason I would put the 50 millimeter on the 60D is because it doesn't handle noise as well as the 6D, and so I would be able to stop down the f-stop to, like, 1.4 if I had to, and then I could have a smaller ISO number as well, which should compensate. So that's why I'm thinking the 50 millimeter might be fun. I'm also thinking the 70 to 200 might be fun to try to pick things out. But at night, you have challenges because it's dark. And so, yeah, usually you're shooting long exposure tripods at night, which is the tricky spot. So the second consideration when you're shooting something is, what are my settings going to be like? And I really don't know. Yesterday I kind of like messed around just in the pitch black to see what the settings would be for something like 1/60th of a second shot, which hopefully is a sharp image on a wide angle, and it looks like I'd need an ISO of either 3200 or 6400 with the lights of Vegas, everything lit up. So really, that's going to be a tester, and hopefully ISO 6400 does the trick, because I don't want to go too much higher than that. I don't want to go any higher than ISO 6400 because I'm going to get really grainy images if that's the case. The other thing we think about when a shoot is arising is what sort of problems could come about. What do I need to be worried about potentially happening? And the one thing that I'm a little bit worried about is glare. You can see I'm in this hotel room at the Aria Resort and Casino here in Vegas, and when you have bright lights outside and you're inside, you get this glare that you can probably see on the window, and that causes a problem. And in the helicopter, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to shoot out a window, an open door, or anything like that, so it might be a little bit tricky. But this is my first time shooting at night from aerial, so it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. I'd be surprised if I got anything mind-blowing because it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but regardless, it's an amazing experience. And so I think what I'm going to do now, rather than blab on any longer, is go on the helicopter ride with Maverick Helicopters. And when I'm done, I'll come back here and walk you through what I did, what I experienced, and take you through some of the shots that I took on the helicopter trip, and maybe self-critique a little bit, what I could have done differently, what I should have shot instead, what I did right, and we can just talk about what I learned there in case you ever have the chance to do some aerial photography from a helicopter, either as a tourist or a professional. So let's hit out there. Let's go meet up with the people from Maverick Helicopters downstairs right now and hit the helicopter and the strip. It's gonna be fun. Let's go. What's up? I'm finally getting to these Las Vegas photos from Maverick Helicopter and the helicopter ride I did there over Las Vegas. I'm sorry that it's so dark where I am right now. This is the classic tale of life as a travel photographer. You go from a place like the Aria Resort and Casino, which is absolutely stunning, top class, eating full-fledged, beautiful meals, to dorm rooms in hostels. That's where I am right now. I'm in the bottom bunk of a dorm. You can actually see this is the top bunk that I'm banging my head against right there. But that's the life. That's what we do. Sometimes we're in luxury. Sometimes we're in not so luxury. Sometimes we're riding in helicopters over Vegas. Sometimes we're in a chicken bus in South America. That's our life, and I love it for all those crazy quirks that come about. Anyways, let's get to these images. I think this will just be a quick run through because basically all my theories that I came up with before and the thoughts that I had before were pretty spot on. And yeah, so let's get into these photos. What I did is we were in the helicopter. This is one of those Maverick helicopters here. We were in the helicopter waiting to leave, and I wanted to get my exposure right before we took the air. So I used their building here as a bit of a tester. And so I sat there shooting different exposures, trying to figure out what my exposure should be, and then it should be more or less the same for the Vegas skyline. So I came up with ISO 5000, 35 millimeters f4 at 1/50 seconds. Now, I decided 1/50 seconds was all I needed to get sharp images. I would have loved to be able to do about 1/80 or 1/100th of a second, something like that. But at f4, I just couldn't do it. If I had an f2.8 lens, if I had the f2.8 version of the 16 to 35 millimeter lens or a prime 35 millimeter lens, that would have been perfect. So in hindsight, I would loved to had about a 35 millimeter prime lens or even a 24 millimeter prime lens for this trip over Vegas. That would have been perfect, I think. But it worked out. I got my shots. A couple were unsharp because of the 1/50 thing, but when you're going super wide like that, it's not that big of a deal. And at ISO 5000, yes, you get noise in the dark areas. It is quite sharp, though. You can see in the colored areas, there's noise obviously in the dark areas, but in the colored areas, it's not so bad. It's a little bit grainy, but it's still really, really sharp. Yeah, even if you look into the office at Maverick Helicopters, you can see the guys inside at the desk completely sharp. So that's what I did. I just did a couple test shots on the ground because the helicopter ride is fast. It's like 7 minutes, and I'd love to be able to spend a lot of time up in the helicopter. But I was basically mixed in with tourists. Obviously, it wasn't my own helicopter, so I was basically just going with the program, and it was a quick ride, so I didn't want to waste any of my time up there messing around with exposures. Here are some of those images from above Vegas here, and you can see I did a couple shots from the air, and I decided I wanted everything to be brighter. It wasn't dark enough, or it wasn't bright enough, so I bumped up to ISO 6400 just to make that happen. And that was the right move because this is the proper exposure for everything. Sharpness, again, it's pretty sharp. You get the darkness. You get a ton of grain. When you're shooting at night in dark areas, grain shows up in the dark spots of photos. And if it's nighttime, there's just a lot of darkness. So there's going to be noise. That's going to happen. But from a distance, the images look really clean, and I'm actually quite happy with most of them, how they came out. It was really hard to photograph, though, the strip. Because one, I didn't have control of the helicopter, and two, it's just the strip is just a strip. You don't realize it until you're in the air, but it's literally just a thin strip of hotels and then nothing. And so it was a little bit difficult to find, leading lines and things like that from the air. I did some POV shots for a client. This is the Stratosphere. One of the editing techniques that I did in this image, and I just did this quickly for you here, is I reduced the noise in the sky by putting a gradient filter. So here's the gradient filter, and you can see the noises here. So if we turn that off, you can see and then hit done, you can see all the noise in the sky. If we take the gradient filter again and just boost the noise, it's black. You're not losing any sharpness. If you reduce the noise up there, it just cleans the image up a lot, and you'll still see the noise up there, but it's way softer. It's way mushier, if you will, and it looks better for the sky, in my opinion. I didn't do any noise reduction in the foreground of any of the images because I didn't want to mush up the details. I really like how sharp everything is in these photos, even if there is quite a bit of noise from shooting at 6400. Let's just buzz through these quick. This is probably my favorite image of the strip because it actually has the proper leading lines and everything. And it was really the only place the helicopter went that I could get this leading line, this shot with, you know, the Mirage in the background, Caesar's Palace, Aria Resort back here, Paris, all the famous hotels in the strip right in one photo. So I think that's my favorite photo. That's definitely a keeper. I need to do a little bit of cleaning up here because you can see there's some light probably from shooting through the window going on, but that's easy to clone out using Photoshop or here in Lightroom as well. Again, just some Vegas skyline photos. You can see all that noise in the sky. I left this one open just for you guys. Again, you can take this gradient and fix the noise by going like that, and it's going to help that out a lot. And then you can clean up these spots that the windows of the helicopter caused as well. And that's about it. I mean, that's a cool image from the airport. The airport's right here. But when you have only 7 minutes on a helicopter, it's not a whole lot of time to get great images. It's really hard at night as well. I would have loved to be up there at the golden hour around sunset, or around even in the blue hour when I had a little bit more light to work with. At night it was extremely hard, and then on top of it, it started raining on us up there. So there was a lot of challenges, but I'm happy I got a couple images for a client that was looking for something something from overhead Vegas. It was the big reason I wanted to go up in the chopper. And I got this image, which I'm really happy with. So yeah, I'm stoked about how everything came out, even though it was a bit of a trial. And I hope you like the Vegas images, and I really hope you get the chance to go up and do some flying in Vegas. Again, I went with Maverick Helicopters. They were fantastic. They do these nighttime Vegas Strip helicopter trips, but they also go into the Grand Canyon and do Grand Canyon tours from Vegas and stuff like that. The pilot was top notch. It was extremely windy up there, and we were getting rocked around pretty good. Dude was an absolute pro. So big props to the pilot, big props to Maverick Helicopters, and thanks for taking us up there on the ride. As for you guys, I got one, maybe two articles left here from South America, the Southern United States. We've got San Francisco coming up, which is the next big video coming your way, where we're going to do some images of the Golden Gate Bridge. And then we're off to South America next for Colombia to hang out in dorm rooms like this. So I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.